What's up, guys, and welcome back to Cam's Retro Gaming. The topic of physical versus digital as far as video games has been pretty popular. I guess you can also talk about streaming versus, Blu-ray, DVD, whatever, in the same sort of, thought process in that we're being pushed to value digital games, digital movies, streaming as much as we would the physical counterpart. And, with the consoles that are coming out with a digital version, it's no secret that we're headed to a all digital future where there's no physical ownership of these things. And I want to talk a bit about why I think, as far as, modern gaming, I think that's totally fine. And this comes from a big physical media guy. And the biggest reason why I think, other than the fact that, games these days, even if they are on a physical cartridge or disc, half the time the game isn't playable, or it's like one of those things where it has to be instantly patched to make it playable, or it's not the full version, whatever. It's almost pointless to have a physical representation of that game anyway. So let's kind of go back. So back in the day, we had, and I kind of have this divided up into categories. So this stack being sort of the 16-bit era with there's the standard releases. And we have here, I guess, 32-bit and whatever the Wii U would be, 64-bit, 128-bit, I'm not sure. This is sort of where we went to in the last few generations. And then this stack represents, I guess, the current generation, or maybe this is even a generation behind because this is a PS4 game. But if we compare these, so let's look at Decap Attack. This also happens to be a former rental copy, which I love. But anyway, we got the game, the manual, and the case, the insert. Standard release. The manual is not in color, but nice looking manual, cool artwork. Artwork looks great overall. And like I said, standard release. Dune on the Sega CD. Beautiful artwork. See if I can open this. We have a nice big old fat manual in this one. See if I can get this out. And also black and white. But, decent sized manual. Nice Sega CD case. Piece of styrofoam to protect the disc from flopping around, and you got your disc. And 3DO, standard release. This is a little bit more extravagant than a lot of the releases on the Sega CD, but this is Wing Commander 3, Heart of the Tiger, featuring Mark Hamill. There's the game, first 2 discs, and then disc 3 and 4. Then we have sort of a supplemental, I guess this is technically in the manual, and then we have some other cool stuff, reference card, that kind of thing. Actually, I didn't realize that the joystick I have works on this. It's kind of cool. So a lot of things came with this game. So then we move on to the disc and case era. Where the games got smaller from the Sega CD and the first PS1 games. We get the standard kind of jewel case, and this is even more deluxe because it's a 3-disc game. This is Fox Hunt. Pretty rare game. Not a good game, but it's an FMV game. And we have all 3 discs plus a manual. Decent case. Not super sturdy, but it felt like there was something there. And then we move on to PS2 and GameCube, and then here's the Wii U era, which the games, the cases are noticeably more flimsy. We're lucky to even have a manual. See, the case is like hollowed out. Boy, I'm embarrassing myself, but this is a joke of a manual, right? Just mostly an advertisement for another game. You could argue that the games are getting, there's more money being put into these games as far as development. And then this is probably a lot of DLC to even play everything on this game. So let's go to the current generation of things. Pretend like, this is essentially a PS5 game, PS4, whatever. Deus Ex Mankind Divided. I'm excited to play this. But, in my opinion, other than, the argument is that, now they can't take the game away from you. If it's digital only, you could potentially lose it in many different ways. But, if the whole game isn't even on here, it's that point is kind of moot. And all we get is not even really a manual, just a bunch of ads or digital content stuff, a disc, and typical flimsy Blu-ray case. And the most embarrassing, in my opinion, I do love Nintendo. Great artwork on this. This is a cartridge, but no manual whatsoever. Now, I'm not 100% sure if this came with a manual, but likely it did not, and I know most games on the Switch don't have a manual. And this tiny little card right here. So the incentive for me to seek out a physical release is getting more and more, or less and less important, because when I pay for a $60 game, I want this. I want nice presentation, and the standard release. I don't want to have to pay for any sort of, deluxe edition or special edition just to get stuff with the game. So, and I'm admittedly not like the biggest modern gamer. I do play modern games, but it's not something I'm really passionate about, and I'm not going to buy new releases when they come out like I would back in the day. But there just isn't much incentive for me to care about this on the shelf, which is why when I'm done with modern games, I typically just sell them, unless I own them or have them digitally. But, or I intend to play them over and over again, which I typically don't. But at least with retro games, there's a little bit more to them. You have more reason to own the physical game because it's just a better presentation. I feel like it's something, to go on the shelf or that you can be proud of, assuming you'll play it again, versus something like this. Give me a break. So I'm not sure what kind of video this was, but I just think it's an interesting point that we're talking about, wanting to own these games, wanting to own the physical copy of these games. But look, is the game even fully on here? Maybe, maybe not. If I didn't have my PS4 hooked up to the internet, could I even play this? Is it in a state to where I can play the full game without a day one update? I think that's just the state that we live in, and why modern gaming, as far as collecting the physical games, just doesn't interest me. And aside from maybe saving money on purchasing a used game, if I had a PS5, I really would not care either way, whether if I had a physical or had the digital console or the one with the disc drive. So that's just kind of where I'm at. It's just an unfortunate state of affairs, but it's how the world is nowadays, and why I still love collecting retro games, because it's something to collect, something to be proud of. So anyway, love to hear your thoughts. It's a hot topic, and I'd like to see where your opinion lies. So please leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you next time.